So you're a romance reader like me and you need to know what the best YA books to read are. Let me show you. Hello everybody, welcome back to my booktube. I'm a romance reader and I love anything to do with books, so if you do like that sort of content, don't forget to subscribe and let's get into the video. So for today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the best YA romances that I have read that I think everybody needs to read. So the first one being The Night Shift. I've already spoken about this in the previous two videos, so I won't go on too much about it, but this is a YA romance that features sports as well, and this is just, if you like the After series, then you'll more than likely like this one because it's very similar in the way it is. So that is the first one that I recommend for anybody that loves YA and wants a little fluffy read that's really quick to get through. So the next one is This Is How You Fall in Love by Anaka Hussein, and this one is not like my 5-star read or anything, but I still really liked it. It was like 4.5 and I would recommend it to people who like YAs. So this one is about two people that have been best friends all their lives, and one day the boy gets into a relationship with a girl, but the girl's like, no, I don't want anybody to know because if my dad finds out, like, he's going to kill me. So she ends up agreeing to fake date him, and they have to pretend to be dating in front of everyone so that it makes it believable. And then because they're fake dating, Zara then starts to develop a little bit of feelings for him, and it starts to twist everything. So she likes her Pokemon and her Pokemon Go, and she's on the app, and she ends up finding someone that she's found on this Pokemon Go app, where they end up meeting in the same spot to find all the Pokemons and stuff. And they start talking and they start hanging out, and then it gets a little bit more and a bit more, and she realises, actually, I have feelings for him as well. So that is where both of the love interests then collide together, because then her best friend then realises, oh, actually, I actually really like you, and my mum and dad want me to date you forever, and they've always wanted you to be my girlfriend and stuff. And she's like, well, actually, I don't know now, because now I'm confused, because there's two people that I like and I don't know what to do. So this one has tropes of fake dating, friends to lovers, a love square, because obviously there's 4 of them in this love square, and a second chance romance. The only thing that I didn't like at the end of the book, there was something that happens at the end of the book and you're like, what? Like, why? So I'm hoping there is a second part to this book, but again, if you want a really quick, simple read and you like that sort of thing, then this one is for you. So the next ones are the After series and the To All the Boys I've Loved Before. So these two are just the most popular thing ever. After series came from Wattpad and then came into stories, and loads of people are obsessed with it, and obviously went into films. Now with both of these, I actually watched the film first before I read the stories. So these were read a very long time ago, and I thought, you know what, let's read the books and see if there's anything different. Now some of the books are slightly different to the films, obviously, because it's always like that, and I really like both of them, and I would recommend it if you are getting into YA romances and maybe you are a teenager that's looking for YA romances, then these are your best bet to start from. So After series and To All the Boys I've Loved Before. So After series is very much a good girl, bad girl sort of vibe, and the good girl falls for the bad guy, and the bad guy is like, actually, I'm just gonna twirl you around my finger, get what I want, leave, but actually I'm really in love with you and come back. And then everything, but the kitchen sink happens. That, I think, is very popular, and a lot of people will talk about the After series, and if you obviously have watched the films, and the books are just as good, but I'd say that some of the books are very, very thick. So if you aren't a complete reader and you aren't into big thick books, then maybe get them on a different platform, such as like a Kindle or something like that, because they are quite thick. The first two are not that bad, but the third one I think is very thick. So if you don't like the physical way of reading that book, then I'd suggest it on another way of reading it, such as a Kindle or even an audiobook, because they are quite thick. But I do recommend them as a YA romance, especially to begin with, if that's what you want to get into. To All the Boys I've Loved Before, again, is very similar. It's very fluffy, very light. After series does have a little bit more sex in it, but To All the Boys I've Loved Before doesn't really have it, and it's very teenagery, and it's like first love sort of thing, and they fake date. Laura and Peter obviously are friends from a very long time ago, and then as they get into high school, she was friends with someone that he goes out with, but now they're enemies, and they're like, no, I don't really want to know, and now she's friends with her cousin. But they were all friends at one point when they was in primary school, and they did spin the bottle. She ends up kissing him, and then her best friend at the time was like, oh, don't really like that, and then ends up going out with him in high school, and now they're enemies. But then as it goes on, she ends up splitting up with him. So her old best friend split up with Peter Kavinsky, and then he's like, oh, I might be able to get her back if I do this, and that's how they start fake dating and going out together and start doing stuff together. And again, if you've watched the films, the books are just as good. There's slight differences in both the books and the films, but again, that's always the same with any book that goes to a film, and I just really like it. Again, if you're wanting to get into YA romances, then these two are your best to go with. So they are all my YA romances that I recommend for you to read. If you have read some of these books, let me know what you thought down below and what you rated them. And I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.